everyone, and welcome to Masters of Improv. I am super happy, super honored, and super grateful that I have the amazing Stacey Hallal back here with me. We are doing part two of a two-part interview. So if you haven't seen part one, I highly recommend going back and listening to it, watching it, even listen to it on double time if you have to. Just make sure you listen because Stacey's got some amazing stuff to say, some really great tips, great things about her life as well. And she's absolutely lovely and she's worth having a listen. So just do it. All right. So I did a great big introduction to her last time on part one. So I'm not going to do that now, but I am going to say, please welcome the amazing Stacey Hello. There we go. So how are we doing?
Great. It's like a little magic trick to just appear. I wish I had
It
a little
is.
smoke.
Yeah, maybe you could have done something post. We'll put in a
Yeah.
ta-da. Uh,
Yeah, or at least a sound effect like a explosion or something would make me happy. But I'm doing well. How
yes.
are you?
I've been injured, but I am getting better. And I think, as I was saying to you before, it's at that place where it's almost better. That's the most dangerous part to be because you think you can just go back to normal life, and you can't. So that's where I'm at. Thanks again for coming back. I really had an awesome time talking to you last time, but I didn't manage to get through everything that I wanted to get through. So I do have a page of kind of points that I want to go through. And also, guys, the whole reason that I got her on the show, I forgot to talk about. So we are
We'll try to stay
definitely,
more on point today. A little more
we're
focused.
on
It's just
point.
so easy to talk to you. It was very fun. So,
Yeah, it was great. It was really, really cool. So let me say, I'm going to just talk about probably two main things, and this is the teaching side of things and the performing side of things. So your show, Ruby Rocket, really love to know more about that. So, considering the last episode, there was kind of we were getting into the sort of teaching side of it. I think we'll start with that. We'll continue with that. Now, as I said, guys, go back to part one because there's even a couple of exercises that Stacey does that she talks about, like literal exercises you can incorporate into warm-ups and stuff. So go and check that out. So something you mentioned in part one, and I think you also mentioned it when I went on the great big Stacey diet on YouTube, for the first part, was this whole writer versus performer thing. So I just wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about that. And I think you said you found that you were more naturally on the side of writer,
yes.
and just what that kind of means in terms of improv and for people who are players, to think in that way.
Yeah, I think when we're performing, we're writing and performing simultaneously
Mm,
uh, at all times. We don't have a script that we're following and trying to bring to life through blocking and costumes and rehearsals and character backgrounds. And we are having to create these performances on the spot as well. And I think we're also directing and doing other things, but I would say the main first two primary things are acting and performing simultaneously. And I think there are just some people who come more naturally from one side or the other. I did come as more of a writer. I still think of myself more as a writer, but I've never been I have been some, but I'm not as much a sit down by myself write person. That's why I got into
mm,
improv. I enjoy writing together as an ensemble, kind of you're a writing room on your feet together as an ensemble. And I love that part of it. But I had massive stage fright. So I didn't start performing really regularly till I was 28 years old and had a couple of years of really debilitating stage fright. Um, but as an improviser, I tend to more easily see what a scene needs or what the story needs.
mm, mm.
I can be more of a support player. My sister was the actor in our family, so I think yeah, grew up supporting her, being the grounded character, the voice of reason to her absurdity. So that part just came more naturally to me. And then I think people who are more natural performers tend to enjoy the spotlight. They're comfortable in it. It inspires them. They are able to generate ideas, thoughts, play from the what the character's impulses are,
Interesting.
rather than from what the story or the scene
Mm,
needs. So they
mm,
might not be as good at seeing what the story or the scene needs. They might not be as good at listening or supporting their fellow players initially. And so that each of these are a strength that comes with a little bit of a shadow side that needs some work. Sometimes I think
mm.
about it like a hose. Um, so a hose, I think a person who's performer first kind of has the ideas channeling down into them and then out their mouths. And they're
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
channeling them. And the writers are more seeing and taking in what's happening.
Right.
And they're pulling that in. And it's hard to have water go both in and out of a hose in two directions at the same time. But when we're improvising a lot, we have to learn how to do both. So if you think about it more like air than water, I guess, then you're sort of trying to circular breathe and
That's
really get
hard.
both of those things happening. Yeah, it is hard. I
Yeah, yeah,
can't do
yeah.
it. But in improv, you're trying to do both of those things, right? You're trying to be
Yeah.
comfortable holding the spotlight, holding the focus, at the same time being aware of what everybody else on stage and the audience is feeling, needing, wanting, etc.
Cool. And I think we spoke a little bit about in part one, you sort of talked to me a little bit about that shadow thing, the shadow and how sometimes, the strengths, weaknesses can be something's a weakness because it's a strength elsewhere. I think you were talking about that. So with the writing and performing, do you feel like if somebody's really good as the writer, I mean, they shouldn't sort of abandon that, right? Like that's still their
No,
natural kind
no.
of strength, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's just like if you're right-handed and you want to get really fit, you're going to have to work a little bit harder on your left side to
Yeah, great
equal the
analogy.
strength
Yeah.
on the right side. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it is, all about flexibility, I guess, because we're doing improv. So we want as many options and possibilities as possible. So I guess when we can change that frame around looking at something either as a story or, like you said, the deeper character and how that's moving, like the getting into the character or channeling the character and performing. I think maybe, people's repertoire would open up more in the way and possibly the offers that you notice or don't notice.
I'm a big cross-training fan
Mm.
not in fitness, in theory in fitness, but in practice, so I like when I went to Chicago and I studied all the, at the places which we talked about, like a lot of people are sort of annoyance style, which is like take care of yourself first. And so they go to the annoyance, or somebody's like, oh, I take care of my scene partner first. So they go to IO. I think you should go to the opposite place, the place where you are struggling more, or that doesn't come as naturally at least to you, and work on those things. So that's that's where I come from. And you could say, oh, I'm more writer style, so I'm going to match up with someone who's more performance style, we'll do a duo. But I think the audience notices that the roles are it becomes very samey, scene after scene after scene,
Right.
holding the same space. uh
Yeah.
so
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
think it's really important to be able to switch off. And a lot of it happened from that. I was in that three-woman group, and
Hmm.
two of us were support players, and one was the sparkly player. And then she quit the group. And so we were already into some festivals, and we were forced to learn how to play that way, because when it was all three of us, it was like when either of us was in a scene with her, they'd go great. But if we were in scenes
Yeah.
together, they would struggle.
Yeah.
And so we had to learn how to take turns being the bigger, bolder player.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Um, and it's good that you were kind of like forced into that situation, I guess. And then you
It
can
was,
see that, you know.
yeah, yes, it was
Yeah.
very early into it was like year two of my improv adventure. And we were three women, and this is like 2001. So we got into a lot of festivals, even though we were relatively new at the time, because there weren't that many women. So,
Mm.
uh, I would like to think we were pretty good, but we were still pretty green. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, I think that a lot of it, we had a lot of opportunities that kind of pushed us to step up to them and be able to deliver, even though it was just the
Yeah.
two of us. This is Deanna Moffat. So,
Right. And I think, yeah, that sort of necessity is the mother of invention thing, like where that happens, and then you've got to diversify. So, I mean, I would say probably the thing about that for improvisers who are listening as well, I love it when things like that happen and it pushes you outside your comfort zone. That's, what improv is. But by the same token, maybe think about diversifying before it gets to that
yeah, and just I
as
think
well.
know
So,
your
yeah.
strengths. You don't have to
Yeah.
be so humble that you deny your strengths, right? Like
Yes.
know your strengths because with them will come some shadow side you have to work on. And at the same time, don't be so attached to your strengths that you aren't willing to fail. I mean, I did stand up. I did a lot of different things. Like when I say I like to cross train, I like a lot of different things. But when I started doing stand up, I was already 10 years into doing improv, and I wasn't that good at stand up. So people who were used to me having a certain level of expertise in improv, even though I was still relatively new, uh saw me doing stand up and they'd be like, "Ugh, you should just stick with improv." And it was like, well, you're comparing 6 years of
Different
experience
beast
with
as
six
well.
months. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
yeah. Yeah.
and I'm really glad I didn't let them discourage me because the skills
Mm,
I learned from stand up, even though I don't do stand up anymore, really come back to help me in improv and hosting shows and how I connect with the audience are all different because I did stand up, even if I never
yeah.
got awesome at it. So I think we're afraid to be, you can't expect to be the same level at
No,
everything when you start,
no.
right? You have to allow yourself. And I've had people ask me just to speak about teaching, right? Like I've had people ask me if I'm nervous when I have students in the house or uh to see me perform. I'm like, No, if I fail, then I'm also showing them how to
Yes.
fail gracefully, right? And how
Yes.
that's part of the process. And I don't need to put myself on an unrealistic level. I don't pressure myself to be on some unrealistic level. I do get a
Yes.
little more conscientious of like whatever I'm teaching at that time to try to
Yeah.
emphasize those things, but I'm not nervous about needing to be perfect.
Yeah, and again, and I said this in part one, guys, this is why I love Stacey as a teacher because she walks the walk, right? So part of being a teacher, especially of improv, is to make failure okay. Like
Yeah.
that's part of the thing, you know what I mean? So it doesn't surprise me that you say that because you're so real in what you do. And I love that failing gracefully, and then I've also heard it failing joyfully as well.
100%.
So
That's a
yeah,
I had a student in improv who had been doing stand up for a long time. So he sort of mentored me in stand up while I was teaching him
cool.
improv. And I was hosting my first open mic at our theater and he was doing tech and it was going so badly. And I climbed up our little ladder and like peeked over and he came over and he's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "This is going so terribly." And he was like, "Yeah, isn't it delicious?" It's like- he, he would always say that when something goes well, a lot of times you don't even remember it because you're kind of having an outer body
Yeah,
experience. But when it's
yeah,
going terribly, you remember every second like it's an,
everything.
yeah. So he
Yeah, yeah,
loved it.
yeah.
It's a big help in teaching me to love those failures.
Yeah, and I think it's partly like a life skill thing too, in the sense of I think it was Mark Manson Mason, whatever his name is, that talked about the shit sandwich. So, everything in life is a shit sandwich. It's just, do you want to eat that shit, So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, you want all the good bits of comedy. Well, you gotta eat the shit as well. You gotta have
And I
the
think Jill
shit
Bernard
sandwich.
would probably, yeah, Jill Bernard would eat this shit sandwich like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like sucking every finger afterwards. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the most revolutionary things about improv is that change of perspective. So actually, now I'm glad you mentioned Jill Bernard because when I'm doing level one, I use her exercise loser ball. I don't know, you've probably played that
I
before.
use it all the time. Yep.
It's
And
so
I
good,
credit
right?
her. Yes.
Credit
It
to
is
Jill
so good.
Bernard. And yeah, and I always do. I say, yeah, one of the greatest improvisers in the world created this exercise. So but what's really interesting about that exercise, there's two aspects to it that are interesting to me. One is the failure thing. So you got to fail joyfully. Drop the ball, just for people who might not know what that is, you throw a ball, on Zoom, you're throwing an imaginary ball. If you want to throw a real one, it's up to you in real life. But you throw the ball and the other person has to fail joyfully, miss it, hits him in the head, goes to the other side of the room, whatever. And as they're failing joyfully, everyone else has to encourage them and just go, oh, that was so close. Da, 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 da. And so the double aspect of that is just like, it's interesting how many people have that real issue with failing joyfully, but also have that real issue with encouraging people who haven't got it right.
Yes.
It's
Especially
really,
at
really interesting.
intermediate level. I think once you,
Interesting.
I think intermediate level students are like, have a lot of teenager, you're in conscious incompetence phase, and you're not just conscious of your own
Mm-hmm.
incompetence, you're conscious of
Yeah.
other people's incompetence. And
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes it
yeah.
feels a little
Yeah.
better to look at theirs than your own.
Yeah.
Uh, so for sure, like and you don't have the confidence necessarily at that point that you can handle anything. So so you feel like you're on ice and someone else is kind of jumping on it, right? And might you might all fall through into the cold water. But learning how to manage yourself no matter what the other person is doing. We just started a long form ensemble, and there's one person who is very different. And I was thinking, I told you about this, the I was talking about Nick Vatterott, but she just has a different, a lot of people are having parallel thinking and the group is bonding really fast. So this one person just has a very different perspective. And I watched her kind of turn inward,
Mm,
thinking
mm,
that maybe she wasn't good enough or,
mm.
because people weren't necessarily, and I looked at her and I was like, you are bringing something so unique and fun and special. And I can't wait until we learn how to support what you're bringing to the group. And like her whole face changed. And then now she's just been crushing it, because
Wow.
that confidence was the only thing holding her back. And now we're getting to learn how she thinks and how she moves and how she plays. And it's a blast. It's so much fun.
Yes. And I did get to watch Nick. What a legend. So guys, go back to part one. Nick's stand up on Fallon, I think it is in the description if you want to check that out. So he's somebody who thinks outside the box like massively. And
Yes.
Stacey has worked with him before, and she was talking about that in part one. I'm not going to say it now because you're going to go to part one and you're going to listen. Go and find out
That's
what
right.
Stacey says about Nick. All
We're
right.
not going to punish the people who are listening to both parts by repeating too much.
We're not going to do that, okay?
No.
So yes, and that sort of I love that such a beautiful story and a beautiful way, and this is why I love what you do to look at that situation. It's not like, well, everyone else is on the same page. What's wrong with you? It's really just no, hang on. If we are all bringing things to the table, it's just that we don't know what that thing is you're bringing yet. Let's encourage let's
Yeah.
encourage that. And I
And it's
really
more
resonate
fun
with
that
that.
it's surprising. Yeah, it's more
Mm.
delightful that it's surprising and unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just up to us to make sure we know how to cheer her on.
100%. And again, the only reason that people would have a problem is because they've bought into the dichotomy of winning and losing. And in improv, for me, there is no dichotomy. Like most people in life, you win, you lose, you success, you fail. It's this sort of dichotomy. And for me, it's like, the most important thing in improv is you can't have it. You can't have the dichotomy. The frame's just got to be, it is what it is. let me just accept the reality and add to it, you know. And I think it was Mark Sutton too that said, you know, don't play the scene you wish you were playing, play the scene you're in. And a lot of people don't want to play the scene they're in because it's not good enough, and all that judgment about, you know, failure, success, what are people going to think, all that. And so coming back to Joel Bernard, what a legend creating that, because to me that exercise really encapsulates both sides of that. It's like, can I fail joyfully? And can I encourage someone else to fail joyfully? I think it's super, super genius. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to let's go to the next point. Well, this is going to be
Yeah,
a
let's
three
stay on
part.
task.
Okay.
What's next on your checklist?
So the next one is, and I heard you say this, and I just want you, because I'm not sure what you meant, and I don't know if I agree, but I'm gonna
Great.
listen. And you love this because I said this last time. Oh, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate about the yes and being more global. But this one is inspired versus justified. So you know how people say in improv you've got to justify your offers and stuff. There was something you said about wanting to change justified to inspired.
Hmm. I just think that a lot of times we try, once we justify a thing, and I think I'm probably going to agree with what you're going to say because I think it's more around the interpretation of the word justify.
Interesting. Interesting.
So
Yeah.
if I come in and do something unexpected and somebody says, "Oh, she's off her meds or she's drunk or
Mm.
she's young," right? Like it
Aha.
justifies the activity in a way that robs it of everything interesting about it.
Okay, you're changing my mind. Okay, you're changing my mind. Okay, okay, so looking at it from that perspective, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so talk me through that a little bit more, just so I'm sure I've got that.
I think there's a difference between I think people often use justified meaning I'm going to explain it away. I'm going to explain away the unusual thing.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to make
really
it make
interesting.
sense in our world and just make it not strange because there's a reason for it.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm really glad that you pointed that out because that's a gap in the way that I thought about it. And now I'm realizing because I'm that Nick person that I've just thought about it differently.
Right, where
Like,
you're
like,
just
like everyone else is
embracing that.
thinking about it like that. Like, okay, all right, right.
Yes.
So let me get this clear, okay? Just so I'm clear on this. People feel the need to justify something so that it makes sense. Is that what?
So that the unusual thing as quickly as possible is explained in this world, and this world doesn't have to
Aha.
change or be affected by that thing at all,
Okay, that's a really important point.
which is
That is a
different than
really important
justifying.
point.
So say I burst into the room and tell your character that I'm madly in love with you and I can't wait, any longer. We have to start our life together immediately. And somebody says, "Oh, I put ecstasy in her drink." Then all we need to do, right? And that can be a justification. But then that
Mm,
just means now all we need to do is wait for the ecstasy to go away and the world is normal and everything is normal. But if I
okay.
come in and I am compelled to tell you that I love you and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you and I need to tell you now, what do we need to justify? Nothing. We
Yeah.
just
So
need
you're
to accept that reality and figure out whether your character is going to accept that love or
mm,
reject that love.
So in either way, be inspired rather than justified. So I'm gathering that's what
Yeah, so
what
that
you
would
meant.
inspire a reaction in you to that
Mm,
move versus have you think in your brain of a way to make it go away. I
okay.
mean, you might need to
Interesting.
make it go away. You might want to make it go away because you don't feel the same, but that's the character might want it to go away because they don't feel the same. But the improviser wanting to justify it to make it go away because it's frightening, because it's a
It's
big
safe.
emotion, or
Yeah.
yes, because the improviser
Yeah.
feels unsafe. Sometimes they justify it in a way that just makes it fixed or go away or
Okay.
explain.
That
So
helps
that
me a lot. That helps me a lot because I haven't seen, yeah, I've now I see it. Now, like now I see where that's happening. Because for me, justification, I've been looking at it in terms of, I suppose, more Johnstonian. For example, the exercise I did that.
I tell me about it.
So basically, one person has a problem, and whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, you got to take blame for it. Because in life, we don't like doing that.
Right,
In life,
right.
like, I did. It wasn't me. It was the cat. But in this particular exercise, so I might say, Stacey, like the other night, like, I went to bed early, and then when I woke up, like someone had shaved my eyebrows off. Like, do you know anything about this? And then you go to the first line you have to say has I did that, and then justify why you did it, right? So in terms of people having I think there's a lot behind it. So one is about if you justify something, then you have specifics. So specifics are always good in improv, like to be able to give specifics. Well, this happened, da, da, da. But also just getting yourself in trouble, taking the blame, and then justifying why you did something. But I can definitely see what you're saying as well. That so again, with great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man's uncle once said. Maybe someone else said it as well. Justification can be great for that. So you're getting out of your thing. You're just justifying. Yeah, I did it. Here's why I did it. You're not thinking, you're just justifying. However, when justification is off the back of a need for safety, I suppose,
Yes. And you're
is
talking
different.
about, yeah, the Johnstone one is you have to justify why you did that action, which means you have to actually dig deeper into
Mm,
why maybe my character shaved your
so the
eyebrow. So
why.
as soon as you said that,
Yeah.
I started thinking like, I am angry at you, or you are, you feel like your life is too plain and you're bored and you wanted something more exciting, or, right? Those are all deeper, both
Yeah,
for
okay.
me as a character and deeper for my connection to you.
Okay,
Which is
interesting.
different than justifying it like, oh, it was an accident and here, I got you the
Yeah.
it's fixed.
Yeah, and I guess whoever did it, and I'm sorry, guys, I can't attribute that exercise 'cause I don't know where it came from. I know that I did it with the nursery theatre during the pandemic, and I thought it was an amazing exercise. So I incorporated it for that justification for that purpose, but also for the purpose of taking blame. Stop
Yeah,
pushing
I
it.
love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
stop pushing it
totally.
away,
Or I
right?
don't know. I don't know. Now let's spend this whole time figuring out what happened instead of figuring out
Exactly.
why what happened happened.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So you're sort of saving time. And then I kind of added an extra bit to it too. So the advanced version of that is that the person doesn't believe you twice. So you need three justifications for why you did it. And
That's
that's only
awesome.
just thinking out of the box, or, like what's your first, what's your second, what's your third
Yeah.
thing. So, okay, good. So I'm going to really think about that, Stacey. You've blown my mind with that, and you've shown me because again, I'm a freak. I'm thinking somewhere else. I'm now I see that. I see that behavior, and I usually like I will call it out in people when they do that, especially the drug thing. So on drugs, it's like, come on, man. Like, don't, or if it's an older person, she's got dementia. Nah,
Exactly.
we're not
Exactly.
doing that. We are not doing it. But
Unless
you're
you're
what
unless you're prepared to really take that topic on in a
take
really respectful
exactly.
and poignant way, right?
In a
But
brave and respectful way. Yeah,
yes,
100%. Not just a throwaway bullshit line. And so that's really interesting. You've given me a lot to think about in that respect, as into how to explain to people the reason not to do that. It's not just because it's ageist or, it's
no, it's
whatever.
dismissive.
It's dismissive and you're giving in to your fear.
Yes, 100%.
So stop it. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Okay,
Exactly.
awesome. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm not going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to bring in a new compartment in my brain for that because I think that is a really great point. Okay, awesome. Now you mentioned something else in one of the various interviews that you did about, and I'm sure you've said it more than once. I've seen this, creating and releasing tension, and that it's like a rubber band. And that's the metaphor that you use. So can you just talk me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm getting I'm getting fogged up because I get so excited talking to you, Lindsay. My glasses get fogged. Uh, yeah,
Two to
so
you.
so a scene really starts to feel good when you start to feel that tension, right? You've created
Right.
some, not conflict necessarily. You haven't come in and immediately. First, we need to establish the rubber band, right? So a lot of times we
Okay.
want to create the tension right away. So you're like, good
Mm.
morning. And I'm like, you're late, right? Now we don't really know anything about these people except that they have tension. They have a conflict about lateness. But
Yeah.
establish the rubber band first. Like who are they? Where are they? What's an ordinary day look like? And this could be 10 seconds if you're doing short form, or this could be a couple minutes if you're doing long
Mm.
form. But you have your setup, and then something happens that creates tension between you. And usually it'll happen naturally. You don't even have to force it. And if it doesn't happen
Mm.
naturally, then you need to react to something as if like another John Stone exercise. It's Tuesday, right? Just react to something. You're like, we've been standing here and talking, nothing's happening. Great. I'm just going to react to the next thing in a really surprising way. I'm just going to react. And then you've created some tension. You've created some cognitive dissonance. Why is she reacting so strongly to this thing? Or why did that person say that thing that struck us all as kind of odd? So that creates tension. If you have a short scene, it's like snapping a rubber band across the room. You're just pulling it and releasing it, and then
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah.
If you have more time, then you can pull the rubber band, pull it slowly, pull it slowly. You can release a little bit of tension, then pull again, and release and pull the tension. And you can feel the tension as it's getting pulled and released,
Mm. Mm.
and the release is laughter usually, but not always. Sometimes the release is like, oh no. That's one of my favorites. Oh, poor Benny, somebody said the other
Yeah.
day in a scene, because the character was like sad, upset and stormed off. And so I was like, oh, poor Benny, nobody likes Benny. Right. So when you release the tension, usually the audience releases a sound
Mm.
if we're doing it really well, whatever it can be laughter is when we're doing comedy is what we're after, right? Because there's only so many ways to release tension through physical exercise, crying, screaming, laughing. Uh, so that's our goal in a scene is to find the tension and then to play with it. And that's what comedic timing is knowing how far to pull before it needs a release and then
Mm.
pull again and then release. And if you're doing an hour-long mono scene, you're going to be pulling that rubber
Plenty
band
of
and releasing
those.
it for an
Yeah.
hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, if you're doing a short form scene, you're probably going to stretch it pretty fast and then release it pretty fast. But it's the same skill set. It's just the speed in which you're doing it.
Yes. So I think you mentioned John Stone before. So in terms of John Stone, guys, we're talking about platform tilt and then, some kind of resolution. So, yeah, and I think his reasoning behind the platform thing too is just stakes. Like if we go straight into conflict, we don't even know these people, we don't give a shit about them. So
That's
when
right.
the conflict happens, we don't care.
Right. And
It's
if we're
just two
talking
two
like
strangers
UCB
arguing
language, yeah, UCB language is base reality, first unusual thing,
thing.
right? If
Great.
it's second city language, it's set up, first turning point, heightening, and then second turning point resolution.
Ah,
So they're
interesting.
all
Cool.
the same chart. And
Yeah.
then like if you're doing a longer thing, then that chart can get swirly because you have little detours, right? But
Yeah.
mainly establishing your reality, something's changing. And then it's funny how many languages we have in improv for it. It's all storytelling skills.
Mm.
There's a book that I always call Kill the Cat, but it's actually I think called Save the
What?
Cat.
Oh, that's totally the same thing. I mean, like kill safe.
But it's about you have a cat, the cat, right? So your cat is your setup, your base reality, your platform,
Right.
right? It
Right.
runs up the tree. That's
Yep.
your right, that's your turning point, your tilt, your first unusual thing. Then
Yep.
it's stuck up in the tree, and then you have all the different ways you try to help it get down the tree, or you throw rocks at it and it falls out of the tree. And I always say whether the cat gets saved or gets killed is whether it's a comedy or a tragedy. right?
Oh,
So
okay. There you
comedy
go.
is if the protagonist wins, and a tragedy is if your protagonist loses.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. That's a good tip. The cat gets the rocks. It's a tragedy.
That's right. And you can have a tragedy in your comedy show. You just don't want to necessarily end on it if you've promised people comedy.
Yeah.
Mark, you brought up Mark Sutton. He and I, did the comedy, tragedy, romance. We would always do in every life, there's comedy, tragedy, and romance. So whatever show we were doing would have three scenes. And the first was a comedy, and the second was a tragedy, and
Ah,
the third was a romance. And the romance was always the funniest part.
interesting. Was it the same characters following through, or it was different?
No,
Different.
three totally
Three
different
totally
scenes.
different scenes. And did they inspire each other in any way? Was there any
No, we would do
seeds that went through or no?
a music cue. Mark would bring like a mix CD and then get people to name three numbers, and then those would correspond to what song got played in between. And so each scene was inspired by music.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a different way of getting a suggestion.
Yeah,
That's really
improv
cool.
wise, they would affect each other because like we had one that was really disturbing and like became violent. Not him toward me in real life, but we did do kind of a stage combat thing, and the audience was freaked out. I was surprised by it, but just like, oh, am I okay with this? Yes, I'm okay with this. So then after the tragedy ended, I'm in the darkness. I got as close to Mark as I could because I wanted the audience to know we were okay.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So in
Yeah.
that way, they influenced each other's, but the characters didn't necessarily influence each other
Yeah. So what did you say the name of the show was?
in every life
In Every Life. Yeah, cool. And it's a comedy, tragedy,
and
romance.
romance. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
there's an
cool.
expression, and I don't know that he ever found out
Is it probably
who
Shakespeare or something or
that's, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
That's my
um,
guess.
I think it was, but I didn't want to say it.
Oh, I'll say it. I think it was Shakespeare. I'm gonna say it, guys.
Okay, all right, own it. Yeah, I can't find it at a quick search. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but the tension, right? So if you're thinking back just to your rubber band
Mm,
question,
mm.
the the comedy would be funny, right? And we would kind of do a standard comedic scene, but then
Yeah.
the tragedy would pull that rubber
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
all the way to the breaking point
Mm.
so that the romance would be
That's
hilarious
the
because everyone
release.
was
Yeah.
so ready to release that tension,
Yeah.
which is why
Yeah.
we shouldn't really be afraid of being poignant or having actual genuine moments of connection or acting in our improv, even if it's a comedy, that those moments will really make the comedy even sweeter.
100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. That comedy pathos, the two coexisting. And again, we are human. Like we have
But
dramatic moments in it.
yeah, right,
You know
right.
what I
Like
mean? Like it is human to have those moments of tension. I don't know about you,
what?
but I do. I mean,
Yeah. I just watched the stand-up show that's in progress. And I don't want to say who it was. She's brilliant, but I don't want to tip her hand. But she did material about taking care of her grandmother,
mm,
um, who has dementia, and her mother who suffers from psychosis. Right? So
wow.
like really tough material had us like crying laughter, peeing our pants, talking about like trying to help her grandmother take a bath because she thought it was going to be a good idea for her grandmother. Like if she's trying to do something really sweet that just
Really
turned into
nice.
a
Yeah.
slapstick comedy. And,
Yeah.
for me, I stuff I do can be very silly, very slapstick, but I also like things to be meaningful on some level as well.
Yeah, and again, when you look at that juxtaposition between the improviser who goes, "Oh, you got dementia," and then someone who's written a really clever, stand up about it. I mean, don't go to those big things unless you got something proper to say about it.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
scenes I've done
like,
with tragedies I've done with Mark have been like couples breaking up and some things we've
mm,
seen, but also there was one with a daughter taking care of a father who was at that point where he couldn't live on his own anymore and like
mm,
having that
mm.
moment. One was with a police officer who had to go see a therapist, was required by the force because he had shot a child.
Wow, that's
Like
awesome.
really dark ass shit.
Yeah, but you
Um,
can be trusted. Like you can be trusted. Like the two of you can be trusted to do justice and bring pathos to that.
yeah, his
Yeah.
he didn't say anything for I would say a full 3 or 4 minutes, and nobody could take their eyes off him, like
Mm,
watching him fight himself, and like you just like, but you have to have that agreement and know that you are comfortable and going to trust
yeah.
each other and support each other through that thing. And you also do need to prepare your audience that is not just gonna like, I'm just coming here for
Yes.
slip slap comedy, and then I ended up watching this thing that made me weep, right? Like we gotta
Yeah.
make sure we're all communicating what's going
Yeah.
on before we fully delve that far down into the depths of darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Trust with your partner, trust with the audience, trust with yourself. And I think you know, uh, yeah, I think there's something amazing about, like you said, that tension, like hearing it in the audience as laughter or, oh, poor Benny. But there's something amazing about when the people are like, like that kind of
Yeah.
noise.
Yes. And
Like
there's
there's something
Bernie
incredible about
Solins.
it.
Bernie Solins from early Second City, directed like the first 10 years of shows. He said there's 1,000 different types of laughter and 1,000 different types of silence. And the sooner you learn the difference, the better. And I
Interesting.
think of that all the time because there's a big difference between the I'm bored or disconnected silence and the edge of
Mm.
your seat
Yeah.
tension silence.
Anticipation.
You can hear a pin drop. Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah, totally.
I I crave that maybe even more than laughter
Me
sometimes
too.
to
Yeah,
my
me too.
detriment. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 totally. And I remember I had a friend who was a stand-up comedian and she said her agent said to her once, people don't always laugh because they think it's funny. Right? And but it is true. People
Yes,
laugh because they're uncomfortable as well.
yes,
Like and they think they should
absolutely.
have to
Or
laugh.
shock, right? Taken aback.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I'm like, was
totally.
he dissing you? What? People don't always laugh because you're funny, all right?
That was yeah,
Like,
definitely either a diss or
yeah,
sage wisdom
both.
of yeah, yeah,
But
I
I
guess
reckon it
so.
was both. Yeah, 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 totally. Um, it's so funny. Yeah, so yeah, okay, so that's the tension release rubber band. Awesome. And I'm glad that we had like the lexicon difference as well between the schools because I think some people get confused and we're all really talking about the same thing. It's just different words.
Yes.
Okay, so here it is. This is why I got you on the podcast. This is the thing I wanted to ask you that I didn't get a chance to ask you last time because I thought it was absolute genius and I want to know more about it. What do you mean by saying, and I'm not by any means saying this verbatim, that an improviser's worst enemy is judgment or automation?
Great. Excellent. Uh, I think that our defense mechanisms as humans, um, so you could argue that fear is the biggest enemy, but fear is going to be there, right? Like, as
Mm,
somebody who suffered great stage fright and still feels it frequently, you just can't see it, right? So the fear isn't the enemy. It's allowing the fear to put you up into a judgment place. So when we
interesting.
enter into an environment that is new, uncomfortable, unfamiliar, all of those things, frightening to us in some way, or threatening, not physically threatening, but psychically threatening in some way, are one of our most powerful instincts is to go into a judgment place. We're
Right.
assessing the danger. I mean,
Interesting. Yeah.
it's not um it's not anything anyone's doing wrong. It's a survival skill. It's something that comes naturally to all of us. It's an absolutely understandable, natural human reaction. Is I'm going to go
Mm.
into this and I'm going to assess every little
Yep.
detail to decide how big of boundaries I need to put around myself. So this is just an unconscious human thing that happens, but we can't play or be present or feel a lot of joy when we're in that place.
Mm.
So that's what I consider when people are like, I was in my head.
Yes.
I always ask people, what do you mean by in your head? What does
Mm.
that mean to you?
Mm.
And usually it means I'm judging what's coming into my mind to try to decide which is the best thing to say or to do. I'm
Mm.
evaluating, I'm judging, I'm planning is also a form of judgment,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
it's a form of control and safety. So when we're
Mm.
in that space, what we actually need to do is not even fight that happening. We need to know that happens and accept that that happens, and then bring ourselves back into the moment. Once
Mm.
we've assessed, okay, nobody here is, and I will say this, there are improv environments that aren't very safe. So I do suggest that you evaluate and make sure that the people in that room have your best interest
Mm.
at heart, right?
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
but when you're like, okay, great, this is a place that wants to teach me these skills. They want to get my back. They want me to feel safe. They want me to feel supported, right? Okay, I'm gonna take this leap and I'm gonna become present. And the easiest way to stay out of that space or be dominated by that space
Mm.
is to focus on what's happening in the moment, and
Mm.
focus on the work. What's the work? And in improv, the work is play. So how awesome is that? So
Yeah.
if you're playing uh pass the clap, which is usually the example I use this with, right? You refocus yourself on the clap as it's going around the circle. That's the
Yes.
work of that game. Focus on it. And that voice may still be trying to judge things. It's not going to go away completely, but you want to not let it dominate your experience. And so by
Mm.
giving you something else to do, which is be in the present and notice what's happening and be ready for your turn, then you are now bringing yourself back into your body, into the moment, into the present, into the community that you're surrounded with at that moment by sharing that. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it totally, totally does. And it's a really powerful thing. And I like it when people are able to slow something right down to that process. You know, like you're going in there, you start, I knew someone who used to say, you start going to higher ground. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
removing
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not grounded
And
anymore. You're not grounded. You just start going up, up, up,
the
up. Yeah,
other
yeah.
example is like when you're on the back line, right? Like
Mm,
of a scene. And what are you doing if you're thinking like what would be a funny initiation? What would be a good callback? What would be right? These are all judgment thoughts of the on the
mm-hmm,
back line.
mm-hmm.
And what you need to be doing is actually giving your total focus and attention to what's happening on the stage in front of you.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you're focusing on the work. Not only are you bringing yourself into a place where you're now going to be inspired by what's actually happening, you're also going to be connecting to what the audience is paying attention to, and you're
Mm,
supporting your scene partners. Because when you're in the back, kind of looking up and like thinking, people are looking at you. You're pulling focus a little bit. People are like, what is that person thinking about? But if you're totally focused and someone in the audience
mm-hmm.
looks at you, they're going to follow your eye line and look back. You're supporting your scene partners when you're ensemble mates, even when you're not in the scene, by giving them your focus. And then that's also helping you stay out of your planning judgment mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the
Yes.
thought, oh, this is going to be hilarious, right? No, That's
Yeah.
99% of the time going to shoot
Yeah.
yourself in the foot. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so
I've seen
really,
this for sure in classes, like as in you start doing that stuff where you've got a backline. I mean, we're online, but when someone turns the camera on, they're essentially on stage, right? And I'm sitting there going, it's always your turn in improv. It's always your turn in improv. Like people would just wait. And then it's like, because they're all sitting there going, and then you ask them afterwards, so what happened? I told you guys I want you in there. Like, do the Joe Bernard, just improvise faster than you can think, right?
yep,
And they're like, oh, yeah, but by the time that happened, that idea was irrelevant and I said, well, then you're not. You're not in the moment. You're not going in because you're planning what you're going to do. And then, yeah, that's right. The opportunity goes and then you never get on stage.
that's right.
It's
And you may
like,
be having ideas like right, they should be rapid fire moments of inspiration. Oh, this is
yes.
making me think of this. This is making me think of this. This is making me think of this. This is making me think of this. And then you hold on to those until the scene needs to be edited, and whichever one is taking its turn in your brain at that moment, that's what comes out when you edit. So you
Mm,
already have an idea because you've been inspired by what you're watching. And then the reverse never happens where you're like, oh, the scene needed to be edited, but I didn't have an idea. It's like, of course you had an idea. You just were judging all your ideas and rejecting your ideas.
yes.
Oh, and you also want to
100%.
fight the urge of like, oh, I've been watching and I'm having all these ideas. I'm going to walk on the scene as soon as my ideas happen, right? No, you're going to balance. I'm having ideas, I'm having ideas, I'm having ideas, and now they need me to edit or enter the scene.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
you're just rotating those ideas through. And a lot of times you might have like some great idea that you love, and then the moment goes by. But guess what? 3 scenes later, without you even thinking, that idea pops back out and because it was in your
Mm,
back pocket the whole time. But you
yeah.
have to be watching what's happening. That's how you're in the moment. With PTSD, if you've ever known it, someone to have a PTSD episode, do you know how they bring people back to the present? They look around and
Uh,
they name
name
things,
things. Yeah. Yeah.
touch things.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Yeah.
table is cool. It's cool to the touch. This chair is blue. This is black. This is right. That's how you are mindful is by listening, paying attention. And when I first started practicing that, it was the worst. I remember being on the side. I was at IO in Chicago. I have a strong memory of being we didn't do like a sort of backline, but a sideline. And I'm
Right.
watching a scene and my brain's trying to think up ideas like detach from the scene. And I kept going, listen, 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 which isn't listening, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was this
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in-between stage that I
Yeah.
needed to
Yeah.
go through of just replacing that thinking with something else, which was like, listen, listen. And then the space between the listens started to grow, right? So I'd be like,
Yeah.
listen, and then I'd be listening, and then I'd start to wander off and start thinking. I go, no, listen. And so it took a lot of actual active training. It's not something you can just turn on. You
No.
are fighting
Like you
a
said, it's
natural
natural.
process. Yeah.
It's natural. It's evolutionary. It's like, is there a tiger here somewhere that's gonna
Yes.
kill me?
100%. Or if I'm
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
alone at night, I often think about it like I'm walking down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning by myself in the city and somebody's walking toward me.
You want
I'm not
judgment.
going to be my friend. Yeah, I'm going to go to
Yeah, you want
judgment
it.
place. I'm going to assess that person and my sense of
Yeah,
that person and the sense of safety that that person gives to
yeah,
me. Right?
yeah,
So, that's absolutely a survival skill we all need.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. 100%. It's
and
just that
then
it's in the wrong arena. In this arena, yeah, like you said, we
yeah,
want to
we
get
just
out
want to
of
be able to
that.
control when we're in it
Mm,
and when we're
yeah,
not.
yeah, totally. I remember a good friend, improviser, said as well, her version of this was, I just make myself so fascinated by my partner that there's just no room for any internal. I'm just completely fascinated with them. I
Yeah,
thought, yeah, that's
she's
interesting.
cheering them running after the ball, right?
Yes.
Just to get back to loser ball. While
Yeah.
she's watching them, she's going like, "Yeah, they're doing so great."
Yeah.
That's
100%.
the best. That's the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then the
So the
automation,
automation. Yeah.
yeah. So that is our other like impulse that our brain just wants to be shut off as much as possible. and it wants to put things into muscle memory as fast as
Mm-hmm.
possible and rest. Our brain just wants to rest. So
Yes.
this is why we can drive to work and not remember driving to work. We,
Autopilot.
yeah. And I feed my dog, and then I immediately forget whether or not I fed my dog. And I always remember this one because my dog will convince me
Yeah.
that he was not fed,
I
right?
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like, "What? You didn't feed me."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "I swear I fed you." But it's things that we do routinely, our brain
Yeah.
wants to shut off. So to go back on pass the clap, which is why I use this as an example, it's like I'll accept the clap from the person to my left and I will send it to the person to my right, and my brain will shut off as it goes around the circle until three or four people before me. My brain will assess, oh, I need to tune back in. And then
Mm.
it'll tune back in and then come to me. And then, so I'm not paying attention. I'm not present. I'm not
Mm.
participating. I'm not giving support for two-thirds of the game.
Mm. Mm.
And once you start paying attention to how quickly you tune out, it's
Lose the
very
focus.
real. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
we're
yeah. And
so good. Our
again,
brain just choo choo
it's
choo choo.
primitive. It's just,
It
it's
is.
supposed to be like that because we're trying to save energy. We've only got so much energy. We can only take in so much information. And so yeah, like you said, our brain is trained to create heuristics, and
That's
just
right.
stay in that automatic sort of level of things.
I just started teaching sketch again at the theater and came back from a 2.5 hour sketch class. And I was like, my God, I have so much energy. Like, I really think of teaching as exhausting. Like, I was like, oh, I got all this energy, like, continue on my day. And I
Yeah.
realized, like, but sketch, I'm kind of giving them an assignment and then they're writing. But when I'm teaching, I'm also in the same, when I'm teaching improv.
Mm. Mm.
I'm fully hosting and I stay fully in that
Yes.
awareness the whole time.
Yes.
And then I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Because
My
your brain's
dog,
tired.
yeah, my dog is a sheepdog mix, so he needs training or else he goes
Nice.
crazy. But like, he cannot have exercised, but we go to a 45-minute class where he's learning things and he'll come
Mm.
home and pass out like he
Yeah.
ran 2 miles, you know? So it is it's our brain just trying to conserve its energy for when you really need it, but you're going to miss stuff. And so then we evolve to the version of the game where you're passing it across the circle because it might come to you at any time.
Yeah.
And
Got to stay
that's
alert.
what it is when you're on stage, right? You're on
Mm.
stage. You have to be aware of every single thing. It's like getting called on in class and you're like, your teacher's like, "What about you, Lindsay?" And you're like, "What was the
Yeah.
question?" You
Yeah. Yeah.
were off. Um, so
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you've heard every single thing that gets said so you can play with it, support it, use it, be inspired by it. So you really have to fight that automation. And it's the same exact strategy fighting automation as fighting judgment is
Yeah.
just forcing
Presence.
full attention, giving your
Yeah.
full attention, fully listening to everything that's what's happening. And in short form, I think it's a really interesting habit that people will have is they'll look at the show running order for a short form game and they'll be like, okay, I'm in moving bodies and then I'm in surprise lines. What are they doing there? They're telling their brain where they need to pay attention and then they're telling the brain
Yes.
where they can turn off. And
Yes.
Lloyd
Yes.
Alquist, who's from Mission Improbable, West Side Theater, and Epic Lloyd. He is a huge proponent of just being like, you are in the whole show.
Yeah.
You are in the whole show. Even if
Yeah.
it's a short form show, you are in the whole thing.
Yeah.
You need to hear what's happened. You want to be able to call things it's back. They might need you to come in and add some flavor,
Yeah.
some color to their scene, whatever it
Yeah.
is. You are in the whole show.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, so it really just stuck with me when you spoke about those two things being the detrimental things when it comes to us being in the moment. And I was particularly impressed with the automation because I haven't heard anybody talk about it in those terms before about the automation. Judgment, definitely people have sort of spoken about that, but automation, and I was like, oh yeah, that's really interesting. And again, like like we're saying, it's evolutionary. It's in you. If you're walking down that dark street, you want to have judgment. If you are doing some repetitive task, you want to have automation.
That's
It's
right.
just
100%. But if
what
you're walking down that dark
arena.
street, you don't want to be on automation,
No,
right? So like there's
no,
times you want those things and there's times you don't. And people like you got to be aware of
yes,
your surroundings is like the number one safety
yeah,
thing you learn, right? So,
100%,
yeah,
100%. So yeah, we're talking about discernment. Like how do we be discerning about we're in improv now. We're just going to be aware, like you said, not demonizing it, but just going, ah. And again, number one, curiosity. Oh, that's interesting. I've gone
that's
into
right.
judgment. Oh, that's interesting. I just zoned out and the clap's coming round. Whoo. Uh, like not
100%.
trying to make it an enemy, something that serves us, but we can just notice it. We can just go, oh, that's interesting. That's curious. Hmm. And I
And
love
oh,
Stacey.
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you because I'm too excited.
Yeah,
I love Stacey how you also put it in terms of being a teacher, that this also affects you as a teacher, being in judgment and automation, not just as a player.
100%. I get really upset when I see teachers post things like is there a student that you think just will never get it, and I'm just it breaks my heart because I'm like, is that a goal or is it to for them to be better when they leave than when they walked in the door,
Mm.
you know? And sometimes they're gonna go backwards. Sometimes we
Oh
all
yeah.
do. Learning,
I
learning
went
curve's a
backwards,
real thing, right? But
100%.
what do you mean get it? Or is everyone you teach somebody you're trying to get a job on the no zero improv TV shows? Like what's your goal other than trying to help
Yeah.
somebody with
What's
these
the
skills a
it
little bit more? Yes,
as well?
exactly. But
What's
on
the
the flip
it?
side too, I do want people to trust their judgment if they are in a teaching environment, right? We want to be uncomfortable artistically, we want to be uncomfortable creatively, but if somebody is making you feel uncomfortable as a person and
Mm,
someone's making you feel bad about yourself, or if
mm,
somebody's making you pushing you in boundaries and behaviors on stage and off stage, like trust those instincts because a lot of people come to improv and they do suspend judgment. Uh, and they're in some kind of transition or vulnerable place in their life and they're trying to say yes to things, but also do trust your judgment if you're feeling personally violated in any
mm,
way.
mm.
And I encourage you to, that's the place that judgment is 100% on your side.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks for explaining all that because I think it's really, really important and the automation thing, like I said, was really cool. It was just something different.
Cool.
This is just a kind of throwaway question, but it's just for my own personal thing. How do you get better at object work? Because you're really good.
Oh, thank you for that. I always feel like I could be better. Michael Gelman from Second City is an incredible acting teacher, not just an improv teacher. He really taught a lot of acting skills. He was one of the
Right.
people who came out, from that whole early days that was theater based. So theater classes can really help where you're creating and mime, right? Like mime
Yes.
classes. Uh but just make sure you're creating space for whatever you're holding and like a lot of times we're like, here, let me pour you a beer, right? And it's like, where is that was the biggest thing that Gelman taught me, right? He's like, where is that beer?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And it's
It's my
like once you
hands. No,
yeah,
your hand's
yeah, let
holding
me
it.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
water
yeah.
the plant, it's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
You're just doing
Yeah.
burp burp burp. So
Yeah.
making space for the things, and he had us spend a lot of time like put your makeup on
Right.
without your makeup, right? So two things. One, when you are doing things, start to become more aware.
Notice it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
second, just do spend some time practicing doing ordinary things on stage. And then eventually you get so like if you're holding a drink, you cannot just like literally right now, I cannot let go of this. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
like put it down.
Put it
Y-
down.
You
Don't
know,
start talking. And yeah.
yeah, you can't like once you feel the weight and you start to really
Yeah.
start to feel it in your hands. Um, but it is a lot of like clown and mime training or even
Mm.
just acting training. But if you're not gonna like go take a whole other class, just become more mindful while you're doing things in your life and then spend some time with your ensemble or your class, challenging each other to do different
Yeah.
activities. You can do them all at the same time. You don't have to sit around and watch each other. Just
Yeah.
make a challenge. Everybody spend some time doing that. See what it feels like to do that thing. And then someone else
Yeah.
kind of yes, let's.
Okay.
Yes, let's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yes, let's.
John
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of that one's kind of like everyone, let's go
Yeah.
swimming. And everyone says, yes,
Everyone put
let's.
on
And
your
then everybody's
makeup.
just
Yeah.
kind of doing this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you could
100%.
slow it way down and be like, hey, let's all put on some makeup. And then everyone sits
Yeah.
and puts on makeup for a good chunk of time. And then
Yeah.
somebody can say, let's do something else. And then practice those activities together.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, that's one good reason I do improv online. I'm shit at object work. And that's me going into my weakness. Well, what a strength! I can't do object work. I'll go online. But I've been trying lately. I had to start a scene last night, actually, like with like painting something or whatever. I was just like off to the side like that because they
That's
can't
great.
actually
That
see
looks
the
real good.
paintbrush. But yeah,
Get the
yeah,
wrist,
yeah,
get
yeah,
the wrist going. I mean,
yeah, 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 totally.
the important thing about object work is it's how you show what you're feeling and not just tell.
Yeah, and I think that probably somebody who's really good at this is David Rosowski. And I think I was in a class with him and he taught about the coffee cup and basically that everyone just thinks you're holding a coffee cup. But the way you hold it and the way you bring it to your lips and the way that you drink the coffee, like that's saying all unconscious things about the character itself. So I'm really interested in that too. When does the object become the metaphor, or the way you relate with the object become the metaphor for the character itself? So yeah.
The best object work I've ever seen is Bob Dassie and Jack McBrayer. They are
Okay.
both like object work fiends, and they were on a touring company together. So I think they also like did object work games together and got even better. And I saw a scene here, but it was actually at Comedy Sports long before I had a theater. And Bob Dassie was teaching this workshop and he was fishing and we've all had fishing scenes. So he's fishing with his son who's a teen and they're having a difficult conversation and he goes to cast on and the hook gets caught on his sweater and you see him
Great.
like try to
Yeah.
do it. And then he is trying to get it undone. And as he's trying to get it undone, he starts getting tangled
Ah,
in the line as he's getting tangled
genius.
in the conversation.
Great.
And you could see it wasn't just like I just did, right? It wasn't just like, oh, I'm all tank, right?
That's
You
still
could
pretty good,
see,
man. That's still pretty good. Better than my
but you
shit, I'll
could
tell you
like,
that.
yeah, you could see every line as he was getting more
Wow.
and more tangled. And that's it's just that same thing, right? When you start pulling the rubber band, when the tension starts to happen, that's when you go from just drinking coffee to like holding
Mm,
your coffee and
mm.
putting your coffee down and then picking it, it's uh so important to show and to have things you can use to show versus tell. It's another intermediate thing. It's like you're supposed to feel
Yes.
something, so you're just like, I'm so mad at you,
Yeah.
instead
It's
of
like show it. Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Totally. It's interesting too, what it makes me think of too with that fishing line. That sounds absolutely incredible. And then the genius as well of that being the metaphor for, being tangled in the relationship. But it also, for me, it serves another purpose. When there's an audience, you are, I mean, this is literally, there's nothing there, and you are pushing them to use their imagination and to be honest. And I'm going to say this in the age of AI and the hell that's going to create, we need people to start using their imagination again.
We do.
So yeah, just that you're making an audience work on their own creativity to watch that and believe it and be in that space of imagination. It's one of the things that make us human. And I'm really passionate about like moving forward with this AI thing. We need to be more creative and do more creative things because that's what it is to be human. So just taking that right out there. But anyway, so
And that's
uh
why I think
yeah.
that's why when other forms of theater are struggling quite a bit, I don't want to have a Timothy Chalamet moment, but like,
Oh,
theater in general is struggling, but I find that improv is still growing. And a big part of it is because
definitely.
it's actively
Inclusive.
inclusive, it's participatory, and
Yeah,
that sitting home and watching Netflix will never be participatory in that same way.
100%. 100%. And like that for me, that's one of my purposes in life is to encourage creativity in people. And doing improv does. Not just the people playing it, the people watching it, because they also see, oh, they're an everyday ordinary person. They're not an actor. Maybe I could do that. So it instills a hope, for that creativity. So yeah,
Engages
that's
them. It engage like you're saying, like when we say, "Oh, that was engaging," right? What
mm,
does that mean? Well, what it means is we've engaged their imagination.
that's
So
right,
when
yeah.
there's a tense moment, they're starting to imagine if this is
Yeah,
gonna, how this might resolve. And then when it resolves the way they hoped, or they imagined, then they're like thrilled because they were right. And then when it resolves in a way that's different, then they're delighted because they're surprised, right? So we really
100%.
can't go wrong. We just, unless we don't engage them at all.
Yes. And also the other thing that's happening is vicarious experience. So they're learning empathy, which is also
100%.
why it's important to do a bit of drama and do stuff like that because you're seeing that represented on stage and it allows you to see it from another perspective, from a more objective perspective. You're watching it as an audience member and perhaps things that you wouldn't normally agree with, you can change your mind because you're seeing this vicariously and living through this experience. So
100%.
yeah, 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 love it. Now, speaking of object work, what like really I loved, I saw your show Ruby Rocket online, and I saw you take it's like a cigarette out of a packet, and I was going, oh my God, that's so good. The way that she's doing it is just so amazing. So look at this segue, guys. I'm getting into her solo show now. Did you see that?
I did.
So talking a little bit about Ruby Rocket, you've got a solo show. It's would you say it's film noir? Is that
It's a comedy noir mystery. It's
okay?
kind of a solo show, but not really, because I play with people
Yes.
wherever I go. So
Yes. And your
the
husband
issue,
really is part of the
and
show.
my husband for
Yeah.
sure, yeah, he
Yeah.
does all the visuals for anyone who doesn't know. He does these incredible, not only are they backgrounds that have a noir feel, but he's filming the show and blending it with the backgrounds, which makes it look like we're performing in front of a 1940s movie. And then he
Great.
also accents and emphasizes moments through his camera work and stuff. So we travel together, and I'm sure anyone who's tried to do festivals with their ensemble knows it's really, really hard to get a group of people to be able to afford to take the time and pay the costs and travel a lot. And so I always prioritize that even when I you know, was 28 years old and didn't have any money. Like that was my vacations. That was my spending money, was traveling. And I had a duo, and I've done some stuff with Mark and Joe who do it regularly, and
Mm.
then Mark Sutton and Joe Bill
Fair Bill.
are duo partners. But I tried to do like a solo thing for a while, and it's fine. It's just not why I improvise. I want to play with other people, and so I started doing Ruby with audience members initially, and I'd bring three audience members up and I'd buy them each a drink, and then one would be the bad guy, one would be the client, and one would be the cop slash love interest. And I did
Right.
that, I don't know, 50 to 100 times.
Wow.
And then And then I was like, audience members aren't as unpredictable as you actually spend a lot of time justifying things that they're doing.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah,
becomes
yeah,
a
yeah.
labor of like reining them back in or trying to put stuff back on track. And
Yeah.
so I was like,
I
what would
was
this
going to
be
ask you
like?
about that. That's
Yeah,
dangerous. I mean, speaking of fear, like just getting up audience members.
it
No, I
was
mean,
really fun.
where did that
It was
come from? That idea? Like,
definitely,
what made you think of that?
it
Like,
came from Rebecca Northern, who's Canadian, incredible improviser out of Loose Moose.
mm-hmm.
Um, way back in in the days directly learned from Keith, and then she had a show that she did for years and years and sold out big beautiful theaters called Blind Date. And she does clowns. She had a little clown, little cute little French clown nose and a little red dress and fishnets and sat at a table with like a French restaurant tablecloth. And the premise was her date didn't show up. She got stood up. And so then she would get somebody from the audience and do a
Ah,
90-minute show with them. But even that
right,
wasn't a solo show because she had kind of some backup improvisers who played different characters like neighbors
right.
or people going through the park. And they did a bit at the beginning out in the audience to help figure out who should be,
Who could?
give her
Yeah.
a selection of a couple. So they were a
Yes.
little pre-screened.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but it was awesome. And I think partly, I think stuff that I talked about previously, like my need to like, oh, I know how this should go. And me having to fight against that, playing with audience members is 100% like, I got to support you no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Working on that
so
side. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Totally.
so it's that inspired the idea of I had this character already from a cartoon and wanted, and then somebody hired me to host an event as her, and then that's when I thought about doing it as a
Ah.
live show. And then I thought about doing it with audience members because of Rebecca, so it sort of formed that way. It was really fun. It was like an arts event that's really boring where people talk about why they gave, how much money they gave, like bankers and stuff. But I just accused them all of stealing the arts. And then they would defend themselves by being like, well, actually, Ruby, we gave this much money. It was really fun. And it was the organizer's idea. It was brilliant. And she had a live
Interesting.
saxophone player and she rented a lamp. So she gave
Wow.
a lot to me through that. So anyway, so it's evolved. It's a comic book now. We've recorded
Wow.
over 50, 60 of the shows. So we're gonna release those as a podcast.
Great.
Um, and then I just got to play with Colin Mockery last a week ago.
I
And
heard. Very cool.
that was a
Yeah.
dream. So he was scheduled to come in May 2020, and he has
That was a
come
while
and
ago.
played here. We usually rent a big venue. Yeah, he just
Yeah.
put the math.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so usually we rent a big venue and we just do Colin and Friends. But then this last one, he was going to do a big Colin and Friends and then do a Ruby Rocket at my theater. And then it was May 2020. So that didn't happen. And
Mm.
it took us 6 years to reschedule it.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Well, that's awesome.
uh,
A great milestone if that was something you were looking forward to all that time.
oh
Wow.
my God.
You really
It's
are
so
fogging up there on those
I
glasses.
am. I should have left. I forgot. I need to leave like a window open slightly so I can
It's nothing
see.
I should know. Talking about Colin Mockery and if they're fogging up. Is there anything I
Maybe
should?
we definitely touched lips a lot in the show.
Right.
I wouldn't say it was kissing, but
Okay.
it was really cute. He said it was the most intimate he's been on stage with
Oh.
anybody in all of his improv, and it was really just us going,
Oh my God, that's
So
funny.
it was
So
very
it was very
It was I
intimate.
mean, he's mostly played with men too, right? Like whose line hasn't had a
Aha.
great
Yeah, yeah,
history of playing
yeah.
with women. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it was so fun. He's so funny. It was just pure joy. It was such a great time. So, like massive dream come true.
Yeah.
It was so
Fantastic.
fun.
How did you go from, so I think, I don't know if this is right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but how did you go from taking audience members to then deciding to incorporate improvisers? Is that what
I
happens? You
just
get
I
improvisers
just
now on
started
stage?
wondering. Yeah, so now I wherever I go, I play with improvisers from that place. Sometimes I meet them right before we walk on stage together. So there's still the spirit of surprise. But yeah, I think
Yes.
just after doing it a lot with audience members, I had the thought like I wonder what this would be like to do with improvisers. So then we had a cast and we did a run here with a actual cast that rehearsed and everything, but still when I travel, I went to Improvaganza in Edmonton and it had a bunch of my friends there. And so that's when and that was the first time we added John's visuals.
Right.
And so this is like, I don't know, 5 or so years into doing the live show. So we went to Improvaganza, we added the visuals, and then it was the first time we played with just, guest performers.
Yeah, interesting. So I think people would be wondering too, especially if they're not improvisers. When you say rehearse an improvised show, like
Yes.
what does that consist of?
Well, it for a noir show, it involved uh learning the language, right? Talking
Mm,
about tropes of the genre, and types
yeah.
of environments you might find somebody, all of those things. But also just starting to do scenes together, learn how each other plays, um, figuring out the structure and the timing. Like when we did it as a run, it was a 90-minute show with an intermission, but now I also do it as a 50-minute show with no
Mm,
intermission. But so we've kind of figured out the structure and like over 90 minutes with an intermission, like where does the intermission come? Where do you want to build up to when you come back? Like what kind of, so they're not specific plot wise, but they are in
mm.
terms of what we were talking about earlier, right? Like about how long do you spend on the platform for the base
Yes.
reality, the setup?
Attention,
About
yeah.
when do you expect that tension to be
Yeah.
introduced? About what cliffhanger, right? You kind of want to be at that
Mm,
act cliffhanger right before intermission, and then you come back
yeah.
and you work on the resolution. So it's
So
just
more of an
practicing
arc.
feeling that, yeah, feeling the arc in
Yeah.
your body.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. So how is there a suggestion? Like how do you, because it's a mystery,
I
right?
get
It's a
always
mystery show.
It's a mystery. It's a
Yeah.
noir detective mystery show. I always get a suggestion of something valuable you'd hate to lose.
Oh, cool.
And then it becomes the mystery of the missing blank.
Okay,
And then
cool.
I we have a little opening credits sequence that we do, which is very fun, which we've added to the top. But first I come out and I interact with an audience member and flirt with an audience member. Then I get the suggestion. Then we do the opening credits and then it's just monologues and scenes
Cool. So
throughout.
is it sort of like in a monologue or breaking the fourth wall type monologue to
I
audience
go
like that?
back to the person I'm telling, like whoever I interacted with at the top of the show. I kind of go back and check in
Aha.
with them as the
Right,
story
right.
progresses or as if I'm telling it to them.
Yeah,
Uh,
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, very
and like
cool.
noir has that
Yeah.
narrative, narrator monologue kind of aspect.
Yeah. So do you think that like is that to do with as well the love of story, do you think? Because like having a narrator is, you do have quite a bit of control over that arc.
Yes. So
Yeah.
for sure, but I don't. That's the amazing
You
part.
think you've got a lot of control. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really
Yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
because you never
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen. We
Yeah.
did this improv convention in Cincinnati and we had these three performers who were brilliant and the story was like a little confusing of like there was a mistress and a grandfather and a wife, right? And like we were just keeping it from collapsing on itself. And then one of the performers came in and just like blew it out of the water, like just who was who and what, and that was just completely destroyed. So then I came out and did a monologue where I was like, oh, she was obviously lying because we all knew. And then I talked out all the characters and relationships more for myself than for anybody. But because it was a room full of improvisers, I got my only like applause
Yeah.
break and a Ruby monologue because they were all like that. They were all tracking
They
what
know.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
tracking,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
set right, so we didn't just do the rest of the show in total chaos. But it does give me control. It also doesn't because people can steal it. Sometimes someone will come out and solve the like I'm revising the whole time, right? I'm seeing the resolution. I'm seeing what happened, but new information comes in, so I have to revise, revise, revise.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
I'm about to say what happened and somebody just throws something else in entirely, and I was just like, okay. So it kind of makes me use that skill, but loosely, like I have to hold it very loosely.
Yeah.
And it also plays to the my joy of playing with other people. It also gives us the freedom to travel, and it also plays to my love of being more the support character. So they can do whatever. And
Mm.
I love traveling to other communities where I get to play with the owners or artistic directors because they're
Mm.
always like they get a relief where they feel like they're taken care of and they get to
Yeah.
just be whatever and know that everything's going to be okay because when you're the leader of an environment you're there's always part of you making sure everything's okay. So
Yeah.
that makes me really
Yeah.
happy when they're like, oh my God, that was I just felt like I could do whatever, and it was such a
Yeah.
relief.
Yeah, I was gonna say that in a sense too, that having that as part of it, like being able to have those monologues and put that out there is almost a really cool thing for the other improvisers to have a degree of safety. So if anyone is not sure what the hell is going on, there's nothing like a good inner monologue or, talking to a friend or something to make it very, very clear, and then they can just sort of relax in there and go, okay, so it is what I thought. Okay, so
Yeah. And I'm always like, you don't have to worry about the story at all. You do
yeah,
not need to worry. Just play your
yeah,
scenes, play your
yeah,
characters, and I will make it make sense. And then the other thing that makes this show so perfect for me is my love of language. So I love Shakespeare, improvising Shakespeare. I love songs, raps. I love noir language. I love Raymond Chandler in particular. His use of language is so funny and brilliant, and
yeah.
I don't do enough of it. I could do more. That's just something that's rattling around in my head as my self-judgment in the show. But yeah, so it plays to like all my favorite things.
Yeah. So in the sense of what we spoke about before about justification, that's a good justification. So
Yeah, so
you're doing the
yeah,
monologue to justify like what? Okay, so that's how it all connects, people. That's what.
that's right. We've come full circle.
Yeah, 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 totally, totally. That's ma masterful sort of justification. I did want to point out as well that and as I said, I've seen the show online, but I haven't sort of seen that many shows. But what strikes me is sort of the bending of the stereotype of the gumshoes, usually a male. So it's really interesting to have this sort of gumshoe slash femme fatale in one character. And I couldn't help but think about watch part one, people. I couldn't help but think about the Christmas tree story and your mum and dad and that whole thing of the gumshoe being sort of like the father very sort of straight, in control, and the femme fatale being the wild or whatever. But that's sort of come into one character as Ruby, right?
Wow. I love that. I love that. And it's funny right now, there's a lot of female mystery shows because when we were pitched, we actually pitched this through a company that bought it briefly, and then we got it back when they went out of business like a decade later. But they back when like Buffy was popular, they were like
Mm,
Adult Swim said, "Oh, it's close, but no one will watch a show with a female lead." And that was the literal feedback. But now there's a whole bunch, like High Potential, both in French and US. And there's like the one with the quirky Elsbeth, and there's a whole bunch. But the other thing I like about Ruby is that there's a trope that all the detectives have some superpower, like Columbo or Poker
yeah.
Face, right? Like it's just some Ruby might not even solve the case if she doesn't feel like it. Like
Yeah.
And that's my favorite thing about, or she'll let people go if she feels like they were right,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
and it is a trope of noir to have their own moral code, but I like
Yeah.
how loose hers is. And uh yeah, I just love that it's not like she's a superhero who can
Yeah.
solve anything necessarily.
Yeah.
She or maybe she can, but she just doesn't always feel like it. It's one of my favorite parts of her character.
Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, so I just again I had this that male female aspect like
Love
coming
it.
together.
For
Yeah, love
sure.
it.
It's a very powerful. She's also a mess, right? So she's like got status
Well,
but
she's
not
wild
status.
and yeah.
Yeah. And she's hurt. And you know what? Like I think my mom probably was too, right? Like my mom would have probably done a lot of things had she grown up in an era where it wasn't just like I remember looking at her yearbook and all the men had all these different careers that they were going to study and the women had housewife,
Hmm.
nurse, or
Teacher
teacher.
probably.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And it was
Yeah.
like so the thing about Ruby is she wanted to be a cop, right? She wanted to be a detective and grew up
Mm.
with being taken care of by a neighbor and they wouldn't let her be one. So she found a way to do it, but she's also a little messed up from
Mm.
it, a little sad about it, a little dark about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Love that so much. So I guess we'll wrap it up shortly. I'm just double checking. There's nothing like last time. That's a
yeah,
massive
get
thing
through
that
that
I'm gonna
list. Get through the
forget
list.
about. Yeah. So it's just a couple of little questions. So how do you not be confined by the genre? Because sometimes I find it hard to do genre because I feel that more sort of confined, that there are those tropes and stuff. So how do you, or it's not a problem. You're just like, no, I just love
It
this so
doesn't,
much.
yeah, it's not a problem for me in that I don't I mean, for one thing, like people have mentioned Instagram, like talk about justifying that was like an explain away justification moment, which was useful. Somebody mentioned Instagram, and I said she was so upset she started talking about things that wouldn't be invented for 70 years. And that just sort of like explained it away. That was a
Yeah.
dismissive thing because it was
Yeah, yeah.
1934. But I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like parody can be more confining, but I actually want this to be noir, truly
Mm.
noir,
Okay,
uh,
cool.
and and then just a cartoon comedy version of noir. So because of the cartoon aspect too, like really anything can happen. It
Yeah.
started
And
as a
you
cartoon. There's a comic
right,
book,
so
like
you were in animation
yes,
originally. So was it from back then?
yes. So I did
Okay.
a Mad TV audition
Right.
in 2002, and then this was one of you had three impressions, three original characters, and I wrote a bit the night before my audition because I had only been doing comedy for like a year and a half at that time, but they were auditioning any woman who ever thought about doing comedy. So
Seems a bit of a
uh
theme going on there. About
what's that?
that seems like a theme that goes on. You're a woman, and so you get to go in there, but you don't get to do the whole thing. Like
That's
you went to
right.
Second City or whatever, you get to direct and all, but you don't get to do the main thing. Like
That's
so,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, that's why Ruby drinks.
Yeah.
So so So, so I did it. Obviously, I didn't get hired. But I did get to go down like to LA. They didn't pay my way down to LA, but they did see me a second time. It was very fun. And
Right.
then, but I really loved the character. I was working at an animation studio, and then I met Sam Neiman, who's the artist who I've been working with on Ruby all these years. And he was doing Flash animation at the time, which is very quick and basic. And I went to him and we didn't really know each other and I pitched it and he said, I will do it. I will do it for free, but it has to be hand drawn. So
Wow.
he spent 3 years hand drawing
Whoa.
the 3-minute cartoon. And
Whoa.
yeah, and then we got a place called Boom, which was trying to be everyone was, you know how everyone's trying to be Netflix now, everyone was trying to be YouTube back then. YouTube is
Right.
very new, and we got like 30,000 views, which then was a lot on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we got bought by this company, an Israeli company that wanted to be the animation version of YouTube, and they bought it. They're the ones who pitched it around, and then that we got those answers. And
Mm.
but they did pay us to make five more that were just 2 minutes, kind of character studies to develop the world a little bit. So those exist out on the internet. Um, so yeah, she started as an animated cartoon, became a live show, became
Wow.
a comic book, and then will be a podcast whenever I can sit down and sort through all those shows and get it released.
Wow. So she really wanted to come to life.
For sure. And I get like the fact that somebody asked me to bring her to life, right, as that like to host that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Oh my God, your take that you do you know even know that thing where it comes out of the comic bit? I don't
yes,
know if you've
yes,
seen the video clip. Yeah, 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 yeah. I love that
yes.
video clip when
Now
I
I
was a
know. Yes,
kid.
totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just people like there's something that resonates with people
Yeah,
about her. So as long as that's still happening, I'm happy to keep playing her. And
yeah.
Colin loves noir. Colin Mockery also loves noir. And I could tell he was like a little giggly in the show. Like it was really cute. And
Oh,
so I'm hoping we're gonna get to do some more together for sure.
that's awesome. I'm asking one last question. If someone wants to do a solo show, whether it be improv, stand-up comedy, a theater show, whatever it is, I mean, what advice would you give them in terms of like how to find those ideas about what it is that they can really like get behind or be inspired by as the thing like for their show? Because with you, I mean, I guess it was sort of out of your control. I feel like she just wanted to be alive and then so that just kept happening. Are there
But I
any
did do
sort
some
of
other solo shows prior
yeah,
to that.
right. So
I did one where I played like 21 characters.
geez.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I just did a bunch of improv shows where I played characters and then I wrote them all down and then picked the ones that I liked the most and then wrote something where they all interacted with each other
Mm,
and made a family reunion. But I would say improvise in front of people, record it, record it, record it, record it, record
yeah.
it, get over looking at yourself on video. The
Yeah, get
first
over it,
time
guys.
will
Get over it.
always be terrible. You'll be
Yeah.
picking yourself apart. It won't feel as good. Even like the great ones won't feel as good when you're watching them because the audience isn't mic'd and it's just going to be terrible. Then watch it again, and then that time you'll be able to suss out like what's good, what's not good, and get a director. There are so many fantastic people. If you live anywhere near where there's a fringe festival, there are people who direct those or dramaturgs who work with people. They will do it remotely if you don't live near a festival. And for sure, the first time you're trying to do something, work with somebody who can help you. Um,
Yeah.
put you on the process. It's so hard to do a solo thing. Makes you
Mm,
really insecure. You have no one to commiserate with in the hard times. You have no one to celebrate with in the high
yeah.
times. Like it's a lonely stand up is the same. I felt like it's just very lonely. But if you have a dramaturg or a director, then you
Mm,
have a partner and you have someone who can really guide you and give you an outside eye and an outside view and encouragement when you're down and notes when you need them. And that would be my advice for sure.
yeah. Good advice. A while ago I did some coaching with Andy Eniger. I'm not sure if you know him,
Yes.
but he's amazing. Oh God, he's so amazing. As a solo as well, like
Yes.
incredible.
I've taken a
And
solo class with Andy. Yeah.
yeah, oh, he's
In
so
Chicago.
good. So good. And I interviewed him for this podcast. So guys, go back, check out Andy. He's amazing.
You.
And you know, I said to him, and he kind of laughed, but he said, "Yeah, I think it's true that when you do a solo show, it's the best test of your own self-love.
It
Like
is.
seriously." Like
Yes.
you gotta learn to just accept yourself and know you're enough and learn to love what you do. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and if you do a solo tour, it's just like I won the Canadian Fringe lottery, so I did 7 Fringe festivals over
Wow.
5 months, and like watching people that crush every single time suddenly have a festival where nobody goes to see their show and they get a 2-star review for some reason. It's like even the people you hold in the highest esteem will run into walls. And so when you run into a wall, you can be a little kinder to yourself because you understand like how many factors are contributing to success,
Yeah.
like reviews, environment. Like I did a show that had like a dirty song in it in a Fringe where we were in a church. Like it just never felt right. It always made people uncomfortable. And it wasn't even that dirty. It was all euphemisms for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
woman's
yeah.
vagina, like hippos yawn and stuff. And like never said the word vagina. But like doing that in a church, I was like, yeah, if you guys don't like the beginning of this 2 minutes, you're gonna
Not
hate
sure
it.
how we're
And
gonna go. Yeah.
yeah, like conservative cities,
Yeah.
uptight cities, right?
Yeah.
Like Ottawa,
Yeah.
Ottawa is very like thinks comedy's frivolous, and Vancouver, BC loves comedy and things that are offbeat, and Calgary is very conservative, right? So like where things work is so beyond
Mm.
just you, and you're not your work. I'll tell you this one quick story. I was touring with somebody at one point who had a hard time riding the highs and the lows and would get it was very intense. And
Mm.
then I was talking to my friend Martin Dockery about it, and he's just a legend of solo shows and Fringe festivals and unbelievable. Should have HBO specials. And I'm with his wife and we're talking to him in the green room. And then he's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah." He's like, "It's hard. It's ups, there's downs, there's all I gotta go do my show." He walks out, does his show. Like he was having this conversation these seconds before he walked on stage,
I could never do that. I've got to center myself, man. Oh my God.
goes, crushes the show, walks back, and then he's like, "So anyway," like picks up the
No.
conversation from 100%.
Oh
And
my
then he's
God.
like, if you won't last if your self-esteem's always
Mm.
way high when things are going well and way low when things aren't going well,
Yeah.
you can't endure that.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
self-esteem, here's like a midline of healthy self-esteem.
Mm.
And then people kind of go like this, right?
Yeah.
And when you're up, that's when you
Up
feel a
and
sense of
down.
abundance. Yep, feel safe, you feel I'm good enough. And then when you're down here is when you don't have enough, you aren't enough, right? So most people are like do 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 do. Performers are like eh. Stand-ups are like uh,
Yeah, stand-ups, man. Oh my
right?
God. Yeah, yeah.
So the
Yeah,
more
yeah,
you're
totally.
not, yeah, you're not defined by your work.
Yeah.
It's just one part of who you are, and there will be ups and there will be downs.
Yeah, 100%. Great advice. So just don't take us all so seriously, people. Okay?
No.
Um, it doesn't matter. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us, guys. And Stacey, thank you so much for being here a second time. I really, really appreciate it. There's so much great stuff in this. So remember, go back to part one, listen to this one again, make this part of your curriculum. And I think, that judgment automation thing's awesome, guys. So, really create a practice for yourself where you're doing that. You're aware of that, you notice it, you're curious and you notice. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Again,
My
love to have
pleasure. I
you
could
at
talk
a
to you all
future
day.
date at some point. And good luck with everything. What have you got coming up? Is there anything that you want to spruik, or is there anything? Yeah, what do you
Well,
got?
just people, yeah, keep your like follow Ruby Rocket and follow Curious Comedy. We have shows every single week and we live stream our shows so they can be seen from all
Yeah.
around. And we're expanding our long form again just now since the pandemic. And so we're starting to stream our long form shows as well as our short form shows. And we're planning to do some more online educational content too. So
Great.
Follow me, follow Curious, follow Ruby, is most interesting to you. And there'll be more stuff. There's always more stuff.
Yes. There's always more
But
stuff,
it's
guys.
so great to talk to you, Lindsay. It's such a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I feel like doing a namaste. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
namaste.
Let's
You ask
end
such
this.
great questions. You're a really excellent interviewer, just so you know. You really
Oh,
do.
thank you.
You make
Thank you
me
so
think a
much.
lot. Yeah.
Thank
So
you. I
thank you.
appreciate that. I really do. Guys, namaste. And
Namaste.
love is so spiritual. Like and subscribe. And I'm going to put in the description all of those links for Ruby and everything that Stacey spoke about as much as I can. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
I will see you
Namaste.
next time. See ya.